Okay, so using an indication rule and normalization process to correct leader material type and the affiliated 08008 fields. We use this to correct some records that had been set as computer files that should have been computer equipment at Lower Columbia College. And this process hopefully could be slightly edited in the actual writing of the rules to correct any kind of set of records that needed a material type change. So when we started working on the indication rule, we had looked at, whose was it? I put it down here in resources, at the SUNY guide. And so I basically put in their directions. So if anything doesn't make sense, or if you feel like we need a screenshot where in like this first version of step 1, how do we like edit the name? It's not ours because we're not doing, but I was kind of thinking there should be like a tip in naming conventions, but I didn't know what said tip would be.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of naming convention we might want to suggest either.
Well, and I was like, do we just say, like only the beginning might show up in the list, so name it something obvious?
That would probably be really helpful.
Okay, great.
I'm a huge fan of naming things exactly what they are. This sounds really funny, but the naming of documents, these super elaborate titles that have nothing to do with what they are. Short,
Keep it
simple,
short and simple.
And what it actually is.
Yeah, and then, yeah, description, I think really is kind of important depending on how short you make it, but save. Okay, it opens, edit as necessary. I think this could be kind of like the highlighty part. And then, okay, test the rule. Do we want to include a subset of directions for how to quote test the rule?
Yes.
Or
yes,
okay.
Absolutely. And in fact, I was just going to say, so the piece that's really missing for me in this document is what do you do with this rule? Because I can kind of figure out how to make a rule and how to edit a rule, but the actual steps of testing a rule and running a rule against a set, like those are the steps where I'm at C.
Okay, so I'm going to change step 2 to test the rule, and then I'm gonna get rid of that in these. And that way we can do the subset. Well, and then, so yeah, so basically we use that indication rule to create the set to run the normalization process on, which is why I then added this, like, you can technically do the same thing with an analytics report, but then I was like, even my own notes make no sense to me. So clearly that section needs more. So, okay, test the rule, select a sample bib record. And actually, I think this would be a go to the sandbox.
Oh, good point.
Yeah. Because if the rule is saved in share, so that's probably a investigate. Does a newly created rule show up? Um,
And it specifically has to be a new rule that's saved in a shared folder,
yeah.
or a shared new rule.
Well, and that should make it so that other people can use it at your institution. I don't know that if shared equals like shared. So you may have to do all of this in the sandbox if you're going to test it in the sandbox, which maybe um so yeah, it's really kind of like the testing of the rule and then running the rule where we were like, wait, why are we using an indication rule? And this specific use might not have been the craziest example because you can get an analytics report with the same set, but I think the idea is that an indication rule can do things an analytics report can't do.
Right. Yeah, because the indication rule will look at mark tags and codes that may not show up in Alma Analytics.
Okay. For this specific problem, but not all. Okay. So if we have a test rule, we might not need go to sandbox because maybe we were in the sandbox already, but we want to select a sample bib record and apply the indication rule, which probably needs screenshots. And then if the rule works as expected, copy it to create in then repeat. Okay, so then do you think that someone messing with indication rules would understand create set of all physical titles?
I think we can't guarantee that.
Okay. So that's okay. I'll figure, yeah. I'll remember how to do that in words and not just in clicks. Okay, so then you have, okay. Run indication rule. on the new set of physical titles.
Yeah, and this is the bit where like we really need step-by-step instructions and screenshots.
Okay. Okay, so this is kind of the major. I'm gonna do bright orangey red. Okay. Did I put this? Should we even put this in? Or is that just something interesting for us to know?
I mean, it's helpful to include that information for somebody who's got a little bit more background, like cataloging background. I think part of this, like something else that needs to go in here is, okay, so once you run the rule, what happens and what do you do with it? Like it,
Yeah, well, and I feel
remember,
like
does
having
it create
this,
a set for you? Do you have to save the set somehow? I can't remember.
yeah. Well, and then I feel like having this in here will just put the next step way further down and could totally confuse people.
Yeah, take it out then.
And it's in our notes, so we can always come back to it and explore like how to do complex things in analytics reports. Okay, so then this one is really where it needs a lot. Then, so basically now, okay. So I'll make this like a little, you should now have a set of bib records that meet the indication rule, i.e. need to have material type changed. I think I used IE correctly.
Yes.
Okay. So then we've got the creating a norm rule. So if someone has a set they know needs to change, they could theoretically skip to this. I am going to slightly edit this and say normalization process because both of those sets of lingo end up getting used. Okay, so multi-part norm rule. So this is where we talked about, so some of this was necessary in the indication field. It was all the explanation stuff that you found, Kirsty, on like where stuff was coming from. And I kind of felt like it was a better place to put it here because then this table made a lot of sense in like what should the rule say, not just finding the record.
I agree. Yeah, I
Okay.
think that this section is good for the, okay, here's what's supposed to be there. When
Yeah, and like understanding the context of it. Okay. So we have this kind of rule specific. We've got the MARC resources, the different like how to write a norm rule stuff. So then this section on how to create a process needs screenshots. Yes?
definitely.
Okay. And then, oh, see table above because I changed the order of things. So then sample to mess with. This one, should we say like retrieved from,
Do you want to just leave the sample out?
yeah, that was really kind of how we got there, wasn't it? Might just add further confusion. So then we've got the first part of the rule, which I think that's supposed to be there. So okay, so this is kind of where my brain broke on what we like. We didn't have any more notes, and I was like, I'm not gonna rewatch the entire recording. I will if none of us remember, or I'll just go through the process again. So we've got writing the rule, we've got the actual rule. There's the resources. Now we need instructions on running the rule, right? Or running the process.
I think there's some additional conditions that need to go into the change 008 fields.
This one was the one that worked.
Oh, okay.
So I can always double check it
and-
against what's in LCC.
Because
But
when I look at that table of equipment should have the following codes in the 008 field, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I see 9 lines.
I think in this case, the bib records were already returning some of the correct values.
Okay.
And so we only wrote the ones that were not. But we should probably so it was not just see changes above from the thing, it was also because it was dependent on the material type, like the material type we were switching from and what was in the bib records was
Right.
sparse enough. So negative. I really like Google Docs sometimes, but when it comes to advanced formatting, are there other fields that we might want to put into this little side note? Me not being a cataloger.
It all kind of depends on what we're changing from and what we're changing to.
Okay.
Like if we keep this document to just be a really simple, hey, you've discovered that you have some bib records that are coded as computer files that are actually equipment. Do
Yeah.
this and it will fix them.
So
Then
let's give this a subtitle. Well, and it's not equipment. What is it? It's Realia 3D object.
it's equipment, but there is no coding for
Three-dimensional
something
artifact.
that's, yeah, it's all equipment is realia in terms of cataloging coding. Use equipment because that's like to three-dimensional artifact, aka equipment.
Yeah.
I was gonna say now that side note, now that they're offering more material types and we can customize, what is it, up to 10 material types. I think one of the ones I'm going to customize is Chromebooks, because I don't know if you guys remember this project here with it being computer file, and it should have been three-dimensional artifact instead. I think
It
another
was an issue.
Yeah, it was an
with-
issue because it wasn't super accurate.
Well, and we only ended up changing it on your older ones that had already been withdrawn, and you've still got Chromebooks
Yeah,
that are in use.
right. I think we're also, yeah, I'm gonna look at cleaning several records up this summer. And with the new added material type options, we can actually code them in a way that instead of calling it a laptop, or even relying on computer file or whatever 3D artifact, we can actually call them Chromebooks. What a concept. So
Yeah. You may still want to update the bib records for iPad reports.
yeah, oh, definitely.
Okay.
I haven't been keeping up on the update notes, so I'm excited to hear that they're letting us make changes to the material type codes.
Oh yeah, I just
I've-
about jumped out of my seat when I heard about it. And one of my students is like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "We can actually code Chromebooks as material type." Chromebooks. She's like,
I think
"That's
I
awesome."
heard something about it at Eluna, but also was like, can't deal with this now. Okay, so run the normalization process on the set is the next part, but this is where I don't have any instructions. So step by step. Okay, and then at the end of this indication rules one, Kirsty, do you think we should kind of have a, oh wait, I literally have that. Okay, clearly it's not fancy enough. I'm gonna highlight. Okay. And then there should be a, you should now have, and I think there was some kind of confirmation pop-up thing. But I'm gonna check that. But I'm gonna make it look like the end of the other one. The orangey red part here. I'm wondering, do you think people would be too confused? Because this is like the coder in me. If we did a like a coding note like you do, like how does it, is it */ this makes this rule run first. Like if we add this in, are people going, wow. Are people going to end up pasting this part of the rule?
Yes.
So how do you
I
think
would.
we should note it? Should we like do permanent? I guess I should have made all of these edits and then make these comments, because then or like,
Is it possible to add comments in indication rules and norm rules, or is it like just a like, no, the system is gonna
Huh.
do
okay, indication rules, comma, notation. Let's see. That's let's see what they say. Testing, syntax.
wait, there's a syntax. Oh no, I think we looked at the syntax example.
Yeah, and asterisks do actually indicate a wildcard, unlike in coding where they're ignored. mm,
Yeah, I'm not seeing any
yeah,
put a comment. I mean, one possible approach might be like in the document to have here's
well,
the
I was
text
thinking,
that you need to copy and paste, but then do a screenshot of that's pasted a little bit further down with a
I could do like a picture of the code and then put
yeah,
notes on it so that you
yeah.
can't copy the notes. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
what I was getting at. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to, okay, do this. Copy. And then I'm going to do with notations. This. Oh, shoot.
Instead of to code with notations, here's an explanation of what each part does.
Yeah, wait, the code with, and I'm gonna, okay, so higher number, make sure this rule runs first. And then so this part looks for bib record where the LDR position 6 first digit exists. We should probably do this on the norm rules one. So I'm going to also, for the indication rule one. So I'm going to take that little guy and go up. Where did we put that? Did we not even write how we wrote the indication rule? Nope, we did not. That would be,
The indication rule is in number 4 there.
okay, so yeah, it probably needs to be higher as well. And I don't want this comment here. Wanted it down there. Auto capitalization. And we don't need the actual rule down here, but we just need more explanation because we've got the whole code up here. Okay, come back to that later. Want to get enough that I can keep working on this. Okay, so I'll go through this. And do you think like this needs to be highlighted, or I could just like not use any of that, and that makes the comments easier to read and really obvious that it's not the code. This look, what? No. Does this look nicely obvious? Like if I continued this way, explaining the different rules?
Yes, I could definitely follow along that way and know
Okay.
exactly what the code is versus not code.
Okay.
And especially if you highlight those comments in different colors.
Yeah. I'm gonna highlight this in pink. And then up here, I'm gonna highlight this one in pink. That way we know that it's totally different. The code. Copy this. Okay, so I'll continue along with these guys. Okay, and then the whole normalization process needs this, and then the what marks the end of it, resources. Okay, so if I make these additions, then I think it's just kind of down to making sure that the formatting of the document is easy to follow, which should be just me playing with typographical hierarchies. Yay! My favorite. Um, so, okay. Anything else, that really jumps out at anyone as needing more detail that I can work on? I'm gonna side note that. And if the catalogers could really take a look at this and make sure that I'm actually appropriately using field and, different language and, attached to, and if it's a bib record or something else, or really should have gotten to take that cataloging class that I signed up for and got canceled. Such a pity. Okay. Nothing super major, although this is enough edits that whatever I come up with will need another look at it. But hopefully less than this time around. And this is available, so if you do think of something or want to keep looking at it, you can. And then I will send this out again to the group via email. Now, I think we've got meetings on the schedule for the rest of summer. So I'll just plan on keeping those unless I'm out of the office, and in which case I'll let everyone know. And I just will count on about half of the group not being here.
Have you already sent out the Zoom link for those? Is it going to
It
be the
should
same?
be the same for all of them
Okay.
because it's set as a recurring meeting.
Because on
so
my
it's-
calendar, I just don't see anything past today.
Okay,
But
let me.
Maybe I didn't download that one.
Okay, let's see. I can always. So. Oh, I can't edit when I'm in the middle of it, but I can send it out again and see if then it pops up, because it should be. I think it's just gonna go to. So it just. So I didn't even set it for a time and date. I just basically gave us a meeting room. So if you log into this at any time, it's like, can attach this to a invite. And maybe that's what I did, was I attached it to a calendar invite and didn't include all the dates. So I can do that. But yeah, I'll just keep it going every 2 weeks. I think there's only one Wednesday in July, the 19th or 20th. 19th, that sounds right. Yeah, that I won't probably be able to have the meeting, if that's a meeting we would be having anyway, but yeah. All right.
And I know that there are some folks who don't normally attend the Thursday meetings who either might be interested in this or have knowledge of this, but I don't know who everyone is and where they are. Like, I know that Hannah McCona has done some stuff.
Yeah. I
I
think,
suspect that there are other people at other colleges that have done some stuff, but they're never at the Tuesday, Thursday meetings.
yeah, and one of the things that I've been doing, and I'm not sure I've gotten to any of your colleges yet, alphabetically. Oh no, I did, but I contacted Naoka because I'm only contacting like one person per institution, but I'm trying to get actual, not just leads, names and emails. So I'm like, who does cataloging? Who does resource sharing? Who does CERC? And it's like, you might not have someone who does this for your library, or it might be the same person in 4 things. So I'm slowly building those lists so I can create less not CTC listserv email lists for things like the project groups. And yeah, just kind of one of those slowly working to build like my reach inside and connection with, you know, the full depth of staff and not just the people who've been identified as leads in the past and are on the listservs. But it's a work in progress, but Hannah might already be on one of my email lists for cataloging stuff. And she just couldn't do these meetings this quarter. But I'll definitely follow up because I know that Jennifer has forwarded Hannah stuff and Hannah watches a lot of our meeting recordings. So even though she doesn't make it Tuesday, Thursdays, she is watching those. But anywho, yeah, it was weird coming back from Iluna, going straight on vacation and then kind of going straight into the end of the quarter. So I feel like things are a little goofy, but I'm moving forward. I met with OCLC about Easy Proxy this morning for everybody.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know that it would particularly impact you, Kirsty, since you guys all have hosted Easy Proxy already. But if everybody had it and we had a shared server for everybody, one, I could help administer it a lot more, and 2, we could start doing shared resources for the entire membership off of one server. So that was fun. So I'm just trying to come up with multiple different projects that I can like informally present to our new executive committee, and then we can decide what we want to formally present to LLC or ETAG or SBCTC, or try and get a grant for, or I don't know, but just working on some ideas. So, okay, I gotta go pick up kiddos. But thank you all for your insights and for being here. And let me know if there's any other little things with this process documentation that you think of, and then hopefully we can get this one settled and go on to the next thing. And every time this will get simpler and simpler.
All right, thanks, Carly.
Yeah, thanks, George. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.